Mystic Games, hello. Who is Mystic Games? Waylon, is that you? Yes, Bryn, I did in fact make it outside, and I'm enjoying some delicious ice cream. Mmm. Mmm. That is good. Excellent. Delicious. It's a gorgeous night outside, sitting on our patio. Light breeze and the shade. It's quite nice. No, not right now, Dylan. It's a little bit warm, and we just got back from a walk, so I'm a little bit warm. But once it cools off a little bit, once I cool off a little bit, then maybe I'll bust out the fire. But that might not be till like after youth group, but it's all good. In the hood. Cookies and cream ice cream is the best ice cream. So good. All right, we have no players on currently. So Dylan, what did you do today? Anything fun? Nice. Where'd you bike to and where'd you go swimming? MMG equals go. MMG. MMG. Sweet. It was a good day for swimming today. Sounds like a pretty good day. Player 4. Very creative. I like it. Anyone else want to share something fun they did today? Now that most of you guys are free. Also, who is Mystic Games 2828? I don't know who you are. DVD player. Anyone else listening want to share something fun they did? Please tell me something fun that you did today. I didn't really do much fun today. I did some fun yesterday. Got to play some Ultimate, so that was good. Glad to be back up playing Ultimate. So that was fun. But that was yesterday, not today. But today, eating ice cream is fun. I like eating ice cream. Beefy 5 player. Alright, well, we lost players 1 through 3. Axel Donaldson? Who was Axel Donaldson? Oh, Mystic Games Landon, that's you. Got it, okay. You will find out what it's about. I like to keep it a surprise until you find out. Lauren, I love how every week your name for Kahoot is Lauren. Axel Donaldson. It's Randon Lego's friend. Sweet. Well, Axel, thanks for joining us, man. So you guys like both over at Landon's house watching or something tonight? And also, is your first name Axel, or is that a nickname? Thanks, man. Dude, I think I got this shirt in, like, my junior year of high school, which is a long time ago. So I've had it for a while. But you know, like, when you get a shirt that's just, it's soft, and, like, you put it on, and you can hear your t-shirt whisper into your ear as you put it on, and it says, it's gonna be a great day. That's this shirt. Every time I put it on, I can hear it whisper, ever so faintly, it's gonna be a great day. And it is. Every time I wear the shirt, it's a great day, because Reese's are great. Reese's Cups, Reese's Pieces, Reese's Puffs, Reese's anything. It's gonna be a great day. And Axel, that's a cool name. Very cool name. I like it. All right, a few more minutes. We'll let people get on. Random Lego. I appreciate the spoonerism. Very nice. And looks like we're gonna have 8 players tonight. Oh man, I got like only a few more bites left of my ice cream. It's a bummer. Alright, let's see. Still 8 players, huh? I also don't know who MMG is. I'm trying to think. MMG. MMG. Lauren Smith. Cookies and cream. The best kind of ice cream, obviously. MMG. Who's MMG? Michael. No. What do you mean, ew? I was eating some cookies and cream ice cream, Axel, but I just finished it, so it's all done. Which is sad, but it was good while I was eating it. And then now I just have some water with with an orange slice to give a little bit of flavor. Ice and cream. Abby and Phil, is that you? Abby and Phil, are you guys ice and cream this week? My last Kahoot. What do you mean my last Kahoot? Phil, yes! Nailed it. First time. Also, cookie dough ice cream is lame. If you want cookie dough, then just eat cookie dough. Or if you want ice cream and like soft gooey cookies, then get vanilla ice cream and then just make your own cookie dough and eat it together. That is way better than cookie dough ice cream. No. Cookie dough ice cream is a mediocre ice cream. Subpar. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being like, it should be thrown in a dumpster, and 10 being the most amazing thing ever, it's like a 3.5. You are subpar. And apparently we have the official Bay City Church stance on ice cream. Oh boy. Abby and Phil, is your family watching as well, or are they staying with you guys, or are they at someone else's house, or are they at a hotel, or? All right, we still only have 11 players, and we'll get started here in about 1 more minute, 60 more seconds, till we get started. Your dad says, "Fly, Eagles, fly, and go Bucks." I'm assuming the reason he throws "Go Bucks" out there. Okay, well, it's a weird one. It's a weird one, but I'm glad I'll get to at least watch Brady play. So I'm not saying that I'm turning into a Bucks fan just because of Brady, but I appreciate Brady. He did a lot for the Pats, but Patriots are still where my allegiance lies. And that's where we'll go. Fly, Eagles, fly. So Phil, does that mean your whole family, are they gonna play some Kahoot as well tonight? Are they all logging on? You're certainly welcome to, Phil's family, if you can hear me. Feel free to jump on and play some Kahoot. Is it just your parents, Phil, or did anyone else from your family come? I can't remember what you had said. Oh, so far just you and I. Got it. Okay. Okay, well, we'll get started in 20 seconds. Okay, 20 seconds. Teddy is gonna obliterate Brady and the Bucks. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, your parents and then your younger brother. Sweet. Alrighty, well, make sure everyone's on because we're gonna get started in 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! Here we go. Logos trivia. How well do you know company logos? All right. Which logo is this? Oh, people think they know it. Yeah, see, it's a little bit different this week. I have a slow unveil happening this week. It's going to get a little tricky this time. And the answers start to pour in. How well do you know your logos? We're still waiting on a few people to answer. I'm not sure how many players we ended up with. All right, it is Nestle. See, it's a little bit more difficult this time with the slow unveil. You gotta wait to make sure because you could give the wrong one. All right, what do we got? Lauren, wow. And I'm not sure who's Mirage. Somebody wanna comment on who Mirage is? And then Abby and Phil taking top 5, and I still don't know who MMG is supposed to be. Both the MMG and the person behind it. All right, next. Which logo is this? Ooh, don't guess too quickly because you might be wrong. Ooh, someone's already in. People think they know. I'll be curious to see how many people guess too quickly before they know the full answer. Ooh, and with every second, you lose points. The faster you answer, the more points you get. Oh, what strategic placement. Okay, looks like we got 14 people then. Wow, everybody knew it was in and out. Who guessed it first? Ooh, Abby and Phil, I'm not sure which one of you is ice, but one of you has left the chat. And Landon, top 5, very nice. And Lauren, you know your brands. Well done. Okay, which logo is this? Oh, it's doing all the edges. Oh boy. Who is it? Oh, there's already an answer in. I'll be amazed if that person got it right. Oh, here comes some answers. There they are. And one person is still not sure what brand that is. It's probably one of the guys. It is Pantene. It is not Whirlpool. So whoever answered that, like, way at the beginning. Ooh, Lauren. Lauren has left. And Mirage, whoever Mirage is still up top. Okay. Landon holding strong, too. Okay, which logo is this? Wow, somebody already got an answer in before most of it was revealed. Oh, so much of it is still unseen. Wow, and all the answers came in. Yes. Oh, a few people got it wrong. It was Atari. Ooh, Landon going out of top 5. And Ice. Answer streak of 4. Very nice. Okay, next one. Next logo. Question 5. How about this one? So hard to tell. Oh, one answer's in. Oh, we got 2, 3. They're coming in. Here they come. Yes, it is Maserati, not Winchester or Axe. Okay, what do we got? Ooh, a little bit of change. Ice is back. Abby and Phil both are now back in the top 5. Very nice. No players, Cream. Whoever Mirage is, they knows their stuff. Nobody yet? No one's fessing up to being Mirage? Well, guess we just won't be able to see clearly who Mirage is. Which logo is this? Few people still aren't sure what this logo is. Ooh, a little bit spread. Okay, that is in fact Yamaha. What do we got? Ooh, Abby or Phil missed it. No players has the highest answer streak of 6, but Mirage continues to hold it strong. I like that this has turned into vehicle logo trivia. It has been a few of them. All right, which logo is this? Ooh, answers are coming in. I'm also curious how many of you are just hitting the first one and hoping it's the right one. There might be some. Goodyear tires. What do we got? Ooh, a lot of change. Wow. Landon is back in the top 5. Whoever my last Kahoot is, which I'm not sure who my last Kahoot... Amy, is that you? Amy, are you my last Kahoot? And then Mirage still up front. Okay, next one coming in. 3, 2, 1, go. How about this logo? Figured that one would be a little bit faster. Looks like we've dropped down to only 12 players, huh? All right. Ooh, Landon moving up a little bit. Okay, next one. Oh, I wasn't sure if as many people would get that one, but you did. Well done. It is the Halo logo. Ooh, and all the top 5 got that one. No change. But Cookie Dough is making a comeback. Too bad Cookie Dough is not making a comeback in how good it is as an ice cream. That's really where it needs to come back. Halfway through, which logo is this? Still waiting on one more. There it is. Ooh. A few people got that one a little bit mixed up. It is Pampers Diapers. Ooh, Cream is coming back. But Mirage, 10 in a row. Mirage is crushing it. Question 11. Which logo is this? And everybody gets that one. You got to throw a few easy ones in every now and then. All right, everyone gets that one, which means on to the next one. Question 12. 12th logo. Which one is it? Ooh, wow. That one was the most spread out. Got a few of you guys on that one. Wow, 3, 3, 1, and 5. We need to play again. Dylan, why do we need to play again? Oh, man, and Mirage just keeps holding it strong. But Cream. I'm not sure if Cream is Abby or Phil, but one of you guys is doing really well. Okay, question 13. Oh, play Super Smash again. Yes, totally. Ooh, I feel like that one gave it away. Wow, that one was really fast. Yep, I think it revealed that center one, which made it really easy. Okay. Man, it's still a tight race between Mirage and Cream. No one's fessing up. Who is Mirage? Is no one going to fess up to who Mirage is? All right. How about this logo? Ooh, all on the outside. Ooh, there's a center one. Ooh, this one's taking a little while. And a few people still don't know what still don't know what it is. Okay, maybe not. Guess everybody knows. Well done. Okay, 15th logo. Which one is it? I must say, I'm impressed that you guys know your logo so well. Man, what a tight race. It could be either Mirage or Cream. Here we go. Mirage, you can't mess it up. I have a feeling this is going to really mess up some people. Oh! Wow. I really thought that more people were going to put Target instead of Beats. Oh, well done. Oh, man, I was really hoping to get more of you guys on that one. I was like, they're all going to think it's Target when it's not. That was close. Ooh! Kahoot exclamation mark falls down one, but Mirage and Cream are still fighting for it. Okay, next one. Ooh, a few people thought it was Puma. It is not. It is Hollister. What do we got? Ooh, Ice is moving up. Abby or Phil, holding on to that top 5. Okay, 3 more. Number 18. Oh, Axel, you're Mirage. Very nice. Crushing it. Oh, that one was way too easy. I feel like the way that came out, it just gave it away really fast. That one was easy. All right. Man, Axel, you are holding it strong. All right, can you hold it for 2 more? 2 more. Ooh, okay. Most of you guys got that one. Ooh, man, the top 5 are fighting for it. And it all comes down to this. The last one. 20 of 20. Final logo. Ooh, that was an easy one. Oh, maybe not. Because a few people thought it was Expedia. All right, here we go. Time to find out the winner. Coming in 3rd place. No players. Anybody want to say who no players is? Cream coming in 2nd, which means 1st place. goes to Mirage. Axel, well done. Well done. So, Abby and Phil, which one of you is cream? That got second place. And yes, Allie, you're right. I did spell Adidas wrong. Thank you for pointing that out. Abby was cream. Well done, Abby. Well done. All right, let's view the report here. This is always the fun part. Let's see here. That falls under. Oh no, it's players. That's what it is. All right. Wow. Mirage and Cream, Axel and Abby, you guys both got all of them right, but Abby, you just didn't answer fast enough. Cookie dough, Les Kahoot. Okay, let's see here. There's so many that I don't think we're on here for the full. Yeah, looks like a few people didn't finish answering them. All right, any ideas then for next week will be our last Kahoot. So any ideas of what we could do for our last one? Oh, I gotta move my. Okay, plug in my clicker. Okay. Fruit trivia? What would fruit trivia be like? Okay. Gotta refresh this. There we go. Okay. Like which fruit is what? Final SpongeBob? Actually, I do feel like we it might be good to do our Donnie and G-Man. Can you guys have the final SpongeBob trivia ready to go for next week? Baseball trivia. We did a sports one. So I don't know if there's like another kind of sports thing that we could do. We could have it ready. Please, no more SpongeBob. Okay, well, Phil, wow, Phil feels pretty strongly, guys, about not doing any more SpongeBob trivia. So, Donnie, Sam, and G-Man, I don't know how you feel about that. All right. So, Phil, also Green Bay trivia. Donnie, Phil, I don't know if we can be friends now. Rocky trivia? Like trivia about rocks? What kind of rock is this? Or like rock songs. What about a music? Did we do a music trivia? Like the Rocky movies. Okay, so like National Geographic, like movies about rocks? Abby was the one who said the thing about SpongeBob. I'm sorry, Phil. Phil, I was judgmental towards you because I harshly criticized you without knowing the full story. So I apologize for my judgmentalism against you, Phil. Do you know the picture thing where you have to identify it? That would be kind of fun. And they do have an option where you can do smaller reveals. So it's a lot more, takes longer, and it's harder to tell. So we could do that. Yeah, okay. Have we done a PA? Do not know what the Rocky movies are. No, I know what the Rocky movies are. I was just messing with you. I've only seen the first one, and I thought Rocky was really overrated. I thought Rocky was pretty lame, actually. Have we done a music trivia? Like the artists who sang this song or like finished the lyrics? I don't think we've done one. Donnie, I appreciate you stepping up and apologizing like that and owning it and confessing. That's good. That's good, guys. Just get it all out. Let the healing begin right here on the group chat. This is what we have to do. Finish the lyrics. Yeah, have we done a finish the lyrics thing yet? I don't think we have. So that could be kind of a fun. That could be a fun one to do. Finish the lyrics. Yeah, I don't think we have either. All right. Well, either that or maybe a final SpongeBob. We'll see. Or maybe we'll just save a SpongeBob trivia for like when we're back to doing youth group. So, all right. Well, let's get through some announcements, guys. Oh, no, go back. Okay. Yes. Okay. So some announcements. So we did. Oh, you're right. We did a normal youth group, Aiden. You're right. We had done that. I forgot about that. But we'll see. I do like the lyrics one could be kind of fun. I also like the slow revealing thing. That one's kind of fun. And then we'll see about SpongeBob. So we'll think through those. Donnie, let me know how your new SpongeBob trivia is coming. Okay, so guys, let's we get a few announcements, so you'll want to listen up because there's actually some things to announce. So the past couple weeks I've been like, well, there's no announcements because we're not really sure what's going on. But with things opening up, we actually have some announcements to make. So tune in, pay attention. Here are some announcements that need to be made. Here we go. First off, let's talk about CTG, our chillin', thrillin', and grillin' activity that we've done for a couple years now. So the point of this activity is to just go somewhere and chill, do a little thrilling, whatever that might be, and do some grilling, eat some good food. So here's what's up for our CTG activity. It is still on, which is awesome. So we're doing it. So here are the deets. It is on June 6th. So that's not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday. It is from 5 to 9 p.m. and the cost is $2. So make sure you have that. And then you must get dropped off and picked up at the Solomons, okay? So Marie Dunford's parents, they live up in Sabisky. We've been there to a couple other things. So you must get dropped off and picked up at their place. So if you want to carpool or do whatever, that's great, but get dropped off there at 5 and then get picked up at 9, okay? June 6th on Saturday, 2 o'clock. We'll just go there. They have a really cool property. Mrs. Solomon's just going to make a bunch of food. It's going to be great. So many of you, if we were together, I'd have you raise your hand telling me if you've been there before. But many of us have been there. It's a great time. So here is, so most of the activity is just going to be us like kind of hanging out, doing whatever we want to do, just whatever. They have a basketball hoop that you can shoot around. They got plenty of field space to like throw something around. Not $2, $5. Not 2 to 5. Babe, I'm trying to figure out not $2 or not 2 to 5 p.m. I'm not sure. Babe, I'm confused. Oh, did I say 2 o'clock? Maybe I was trying to say $2. Yes. Lord. That was hilarious. Okay. 5 to 9 p.m., $2. That's what's happening. Don't you, like, live in the same house? We do, but I am outside in nature, and Megan is inside. So right now, she's living in the house, and I'm outside. Okay, now, most of the activity is just going to be hanging out and goofing around, but we will do one group activity together. Like, we'll come together and we're going to play a game together, all of us, at CTG. And what we're going to be doing is slip and slide kickball. Yes, slip and slide kickball. I talked with Mr. and Mrs. Solomon. I emailed them asking if it was okay if we did it, and they said yes. So we're going to bring a bunch of tarps, and we're going to have kiddie pools, and we're going to play kickball, but we're going to do it slip and slide style. So that's going to be awesome. because many of you were there. I think we did it 2 years ago when we did slip and slide kickball, and it was a blast. So, how many of you comment if you were who was there 2 years ago when we did slip and slide kickball, and we just had that like massive big kiddie pool at home plate, and everyone was like diving into it, and Kevin was spraying everybody. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, Lauren was there, Dylan was there, Aiden. I'm not sure if you were there. I don't know if you were in youth group yet. Maybe you were. Okay, you were there. Okay. Yep, Tyler. So anyways, I was really excited because I was thinking about it. And I was like, oh man, I would love to be able to do this. So we will be doing slip and slide kickball, so make sure you dress accordingly. Hopefully the weather will be nice. So that is our next activity. Make sure you are ready for that. Okay, next let me make some announcements about mission trips. Okay, first off, we are not going to Detroit just because of certain things. So as I sent out in the GroupMe chat, instead, the Detroit team, you are now going to Salt Lake City. Well, not you, we're going to Salt Lake City. So the cookout is on June 19th from 5:30 to 8. You need to be there. That's required. June 19th, 5:30 to 8. If you were on the Detroit trip, you're now on the Salt Lake City trip, and you need to be at the cookout. At the cookout is when we'll walk through the schedule. We'll give out the T-shirts on the 19th, which will be fun. They're going to be pretty great this year. I think you'll like them. And then we're going to talk through, start to bond together as a team. So that is the cookout. Make sure you are there. You must be there. And then the dates for the trip are June 27th through July 6th. Okay? So that is the plan for Salt Lake City. Now, as far as Minneapolis is concerned, the cookout is on July 18th from 5:30 to 8. So if you're on the Minneapolis trip is still on as normal. There have been no changes as of yet. We're still taking it a week at a time, but we're planning on having Minneapolis as normal. So your cookout is July 18th. Also, you have to be there. We'll go over the schedule and assignments and get ready for that. And then the trip will be July 25th through August 1st. So make sure you block those out. Okay? So those are the announcements. As far as the only other announcement is we have, as far as Respectable Sins, we have tonight, which is our final sin that we're going to look at. And then next Wednesday, we're just going to do a wrap-up conclusion. And then we're going to take some time to talk about and share just what God taught us during this study. So that will be next week. So we'll still do it on YouTube, talking through what we learned. And then you can also talk about that in your small group with your youth staff. And then the following Wednesday, June 10th, is when we have the new 7th graders. So everybody will be moved up a grade. So we'll have the 6th graders will now be 7th graders, which means they'll be part of youth group. And then we'll start our summer study. We don't know yet what it's going to look like, what youth group is going to look like. I talked with the pastors today during our pastoral staff meeting, and youth staff. We need to chat about what we want to do moving forward for youth group. So at some point, the youth staff, we need to have a meeting and just kind of figure out what we'll do for youth group. And teens, once we get to figure that out, we'll let you know what our plan is. But hopefully we'll get to do something starting June 10th. But what that exactly looks like, well, youth staff will have to talk about that. So we'll keep you updated. We'll let you know as soon as we hear anything. But that is where we're at as far as things go. Okay, before we dive into our study, are there any final thoughts, questions, comments on these announcements? CTG, mission trips, or youth group stuff? Everybody good? Okay. Going once? Going twice? Alrighty. Well, guys, if you have a handout, get it out. If you are taking notes or whatever you've been doing during this time, get ready for that. So tonight, man, guys, we have looked at, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sins so far in this study. So tonight will be our 12th one that we'll look at, and our final one, our 12th and final one. It's been quite a journey. So as normal, let's just take some quiet time to pray and ask God to search us and know us and see if there is any wicked way in us with this sin. So I'll give you 30 seconds just to yourself and to God. Just pray that God would guide our study time together, that He would teach us whatever He wants to teach us and convict us tonight. So 30 seconds, and then I'll pray for us. Go. Father, we thank you for tonight, and thank you for this study, God. You have taught all of us so much, and we thank you for that. God, you have convicted us week after week, and we thank you for that, and we ask that you would do that again tonight. Will you help me to be clear and to be articulate and accurate in the things that I say tonight from your word? Will your Holy Spirit move in our hearts to reveal and show where this respectable sin is in our life? So God, we dedicate and give this time to you and ask for you to work in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. Boom. Quick review so far. Here's what we've been studying for the past, 15 weeks. It's been a long one, but it's been great. So we're looking at respectable sins, which are sins that we give approval to. We don't think about them. We don't care about. We make excuses for, or we commit freely without second thought. That's what we've been looking at in the study, and we looked at a lot of them. Last week, we looked at envy and jealousy, so that was a good study. So what envy, jealousy is, it's a sorrow and disdain at the good of another. Somebody else has more than you, they're better than you, they're better looking than you, they're stronger than you, they're bigger, faster, stronger, and therefore you're either sad at that or you look down on them, you disdain them, you despise them simply because of their good. Okay, so we looked at that last week. That was a convicting one from last week. And then for tonight, let's get into our last one. So, gut check as normal. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. This one's more of a category, but that's what we're looking at. Okay, lying, gossip, lies. Okay, other gut checks? When you think of sins of the tongue, as Ali says, sins that we commit with our tongue, meaning ways that we use our tongue or our mouth sinfully. So like Dylan and Aiden mentioned, lying, gossip. You could even say like sinful speech, sinful words. Okay, Lauren, anything that is not honoring to God that comes from your mouth, verbal. Okay. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Using your tongue to sin. Okay. So Phil mentioned specifically slander, gossip, and deceit. Okay. So slander is another one on there. So far we have gossip, deceit, and slander. As far as specific sins that we commit with our tongue. Anything else? Donnie, verbal attack targeted at an object, person, or spiritual being that ignores the premeditated will of God. Wow. Okay. Okay, so a verbal attack. Okay, I like that idea of using our tongue to attack. Okay, good. Ali, cutting someone down with the words you say, swearing, and other types of things like gossip. Okay, so Ali adds some more. Cutting someone down. That's a big one. We'll talk about that. Swearing, yep, using words that are inappropriate. Other types of things, yep, gossip. Okay. All right, any other final gut checks? Otherwise, we'll dive into this. So in a sense, it's kind of like saving the biggest for last, because when it comes to sins of the tongue, there are a lot of respectable sins. So sins, again, sins that we approve of, we don't think about. And when it comes to the tongue, there's a lot of them. So rather than trying to cover like one night on gossip and then one night on being unkind or lying, like we're just gonna kind of try to cover all ways or many ways that we use our tongue sinfully. So that's the point of tonight. So we're kind of this is a shelf space category. So what is on the shelf of our mouth or our tongue being used sinfully? That's what we're going to look at tonight. So let's look at this a little bit. So what are they? What are sins of the tongue? Okay, so let me ask you this. How many times do you think the New Testament, just the New Testament, deals with the words we say, the way we use our tongue, our speech? How many times do you think the New Testament addresses our speech, our words, our tongue, our mouth, whatever you want to say? Okay, so Aiden, you say like 54, okay. Any other guesses? Just the New Testament? 66? 83? Okay, it keeps getting higher. Okay, Bryn, 21. Phil says 100. Okay, as normal, tell me why. Like, why do some of you say like almost 100, and then Bryn, Amy saying closer to like 20, 30 range? So why do you put such high numbers or such low numbers? Okay, because those numbers are pretty high numbers, especially in comparison, because it's a broad topic. Okay, I think that's fair. I think that's really good. That does jack up the numbers when it comes to our words. I feel like it's very broad, and I like the number. Okay, Phil, it seems like it's addressed in a lot of the books. Yep. Speech is found in Proverbs. True. I want to say that it talks about it more in the Old Testament as opposed to the New Testament. Interesting. Okay, so let me say this. Here's why I specify the New Testament, because as a lot of you mentioned, it is a broad topic. So if you're going to try to figure out all of the Bible passages that talk about our speech and our tongue, it's like, I mean, it's hard, because you have to search, you have to look up the words tongue, mouth, speech, word, and then like blasphemy, lying, deceit, falsehood. Like there are so many words that you have to look up, and it's hard to do that, because if you do a search for the word, I mean, you're going to get things that aren't dealing with like sinful speech. It's just talking about, and the word of the Lord came to so and so and said, like, well, those don't count. So it's actually really hard to get a count of the whole Bible. But the New Testament is a little bit easier. So for the New Testament, it's about 43 times that the New Testament alone deals specifically with don't lie or speak truthfully with one another. And that's even like, I tried as best I can to count, and I'm probably still missing, because it is really broad. When the Old Testament, man, like some people say that Proverbs alone deals with our speech like over 60 times. So yes, I think when you take the whole Bible, it definitely talks about our speech a lot. So this is why, like, we could do a lot of studies on this, but our speech, the words that we say, our tongues, how we use our tongues, is a huge deal in the Bible. So let's look at it. So here's a definition of like our sins of the tongue category. Here's what I'm doing. So they're words with a tone or content that destroys. So this is just my summary. What we're looking at, what we're talking about when it comes to respectable sins, are words with a tone, the way we say them, or content that destroys. Okay, it's the words that we use that destroy, they tear down, they cut, they corrupt, they ruin. Or the tone and the way we say them also destroys or cuts or ruins. Okay, so when it comes to sins of the tongue, this is my umbrella category, the shelf space of their words that have a tone or content that destroys. So let's look at them, shall we? Why are they sins? Okay, first off, one, it falls short of Ephesians 4:29. Ephesians 4:29, we're familiar with this, most of us. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up or edifying, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Okay, Ephesians 4:29 is probably the most broad example of a verse that deals with just all of our sin, or all of our words. Don't speak words that are corrupt. Okay, the word corrupt is like moldy, rotten. Okay, Paul says there's no moldy, rotten, gross words should come out of our mouth. And that's a really broad category, right? Where if a word is rotten and moldy and yucky, like that's going to cover a lot of the sins that we'll look at. So Paul himself, like notice Paul doesn't give us, here's the 20 words that you shouldn't say, or here's a list of words that you can say and words that you can't say. Paul doesn't give us a list. What he does tell us is, don't speak rotten, moldy, corrupt, disgusting, gross words, but rather speak words that build up. So you see, that's why sins of the tongue are words or content that destroy. So for Paul, either your words are rotten and moldy, or they build up, they edify, they strengthen, and they give grace to people, okay? That's how Paul divides. Your words and my words either make someone rotten, or a situation or circumstance rotten, or they build up someone, okay? Those are the two options. So when we use our tongue in a sinful way, we're blatantly falling short of this. No corrupt talk, no rotten speech, none of that at all. Okay, so fall short of that. Okay, also fall short of James 3. James chapter 3 is one of the longest passages dealing with our speech. So let's just fly through this really fast. Okay, James 3. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness, for we all stumble in many ways, and if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body. If we put bits into the mouths of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole bodies as well. Look at the ships. Though they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are guided by a very small rudder wherever the will of the pilot directs. Then, he says, so also, the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by hell. That's intense language when it comes to our tongue. He continues on. With our tongue, we bless our Lord and Father, and with it, we curse people who are made in the likeness of God. From the same mouth come blessing, building up, edifying, and cursing, corrupt talk, moldy talk. My brothers, these things ought not to be so. Okay, that's a long passage. Do you see James? James is saying your tongue has incredible power. Your tongue can set an entire forest on fire. That's the power that lies in your tongue. And yet so often, we use our tongue to curse people, to destroy people, to cut at people. We use the same tongue to bless God and talk about God, and then we turn around and use that same tongue for cursing and for corruptness. Okay? These things ought not to be so. James says, guys, as Christians, you can't use your tongue for blessing and then cursing and then good and then rotten. No. Only for good. Okay, and Tyler, would sarcasm be considered sinful? We'll talk about that. So hold on to that. We'll get to that when we look at what it looks like. Okay, so what else? God hates them. God hates sins of the tongue. We're familiar with this passage, right? Proverbs 6. There are 6 things that Yahweh hates. 7 that are an abomination to him. Haughty or prideful eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers. Okay, Proverbs is super clear. God hates lying and false usage of our tongue. And when we sow discord, we gossip and spread things that ruin brothers. So we lie, we deceive, we manipulate, we exaggerate, we kind of do this, and it's not a big deal. And yet God turns around and says, no, I hate that. So we as followers of Jesus cannot respect or tolerate something that God clearly says he hates. So we see how this is such a respectable sin. We're kind of like, okay, whatever. We don't really think about it. Not a big deal. And yet Proverbs is abundantly clear. God hates lying. God hates deception and falseness. He hates it. So we can't tolerate it. Next, sins of the tongue, they're just unloving. And now I think we've had this with like every respectable sin. All of them are unloving in some way, which makes sense. Like, this is why Jesus says the whole law is fulfilled in love God and love your neighbor. Because if we lived our lives completely for love of God and love of neighbor, then we would never sin. And yet we do, and it falls short of love. So, love, doing whatever it takes for the betterment of another. When we use our tongue to cut or destroy or ruin or hurt a person, then we're, by very definition, not being loving. If loving is seeking their betterment, using our tongue in a sinful way is ruining them. It's not making them better. So when we use our tongue in a sinful way, whether gossip, slander, lying, hurtful, mocking, whatever it is, we're being unloving when we use our tongue in that way. Okay, more than that, sins of the tongue deserve the wrath of God. Okay, look at Romans 1. This is Paul giving the whole list. All the wickedness of people, they were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. And again, we've looked at this list in other times, but this is intense. So for us, we look at somebody who gossips or uses their tongue in a sinful way as like, probably not the best, but not really a big deal. But here, Paul puts gossip and murder in the same list. So we may think, I never murder anybody, or, I generally obey my parents. I'm a pretty good kid, and I don't murder or anything like that. And yet we think that our gossip is okay. Or the fact that we slander and we speak evil of people is okay. Because, I don't murder, and, I'm not I don't hate God, and, I'm not disobedient to my parents, or, I'm not a heartless person. And yet we're quick to gossip or slander or lie and be deceitful. We can't begin to divide sins into the sins that I commit aren't that big of a deal, but the ones that they commit are. Okay, that's the whole point of this study, is respectable sins. Murder and gossiping are found in the same list of evil sins that Paul says in Romans 1. God's wrath will be poured out and deserves to be poured out on these sins. So my gossip, my slander, my lying deserves the wrath of God. If gossip was the only sin I ever committed, I would deserve the wrath of God because it's sinful. Next, they are defiling. We get this from Jesus. They defile us. Matthew 15:11 and then 18 through 19. Jesus says, "It is not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, but what comes out of the mouth." See, our words, what comes out of your mouth defiles a person. But what comes out of the mouth proceeds from the heart, and this defiles, stains us, ruins us. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false witness, lying, deception, and slander. So do you see what Jesus does? Jesus says that it's not what you put into your mouth that is the problem. It's what comes out of your mouth that's the problem. And what comes out of your mouth is simply a reflection and an indicator of what's in your heart. And that's where our sin comes from. That's what stains us. That's what defiles us. So Jesus is basically emphasizing that we cannot separate our words and our heart, or we cannot separate our words and who we really are. The words that we say, when we lie and deceive and we slander with our words, that's a reflection of our heart, and it defiles us. So we can't try to say, well, my words aren't a big deal. They are, because they reveal what's deeper in our hearts. So not only are the words sinful, but it also reveals that there's even more sin creeping and rooted deep in our hearts. So Jesus is really helpful as we try to understand that. Okay, and last one, why are they sins? They are demonic. Okay, this is kind of fun. So last week or a couple weeks ago, we looked at the title Satan. So if you remember what the word Satan means, the word Satan means accuser. Okay, accuser. Satan, accuser. That's why he should be called the Satan. Satan is not his name, it's a title. The accuser. Now, another word for him is the devil. And the word devil means slanderer, one who slanders. Isn't that interesting? The devil is not a name. It's not like John or Mary or Bob. The word devil is a title. The devil, the Satan, the slanderer. And slander, then, we see it here. Whoops, that's a copy. Whoops. Okay, it looks like I goofed on that one. No. Okay, and there we go. Okay, they are demonic. So devil, slanderer. And so the word devil shows up most of the time referring to the being that we title the devil, but sometimes the word for devil shows up as, like in the book of Titus, Paul says that we should not be slanderers. And what slander is, it's speaking evil of someone. Slander is cutting someone down. That's slander. So when we use our words to cut people down, to destroy people or ruin people, we are doing the very thing that the devil, the slanderer, has his title for. So when we use our words to cut down people, to destroy people, we are using words that are much more aligned with the devil than we are with being aligned with Jesus. So we can't say, well, like, me talking bad about someone is not a big deal. No, you're doing the very thing that the devil does. That's his title, is the slanderer. So why are you slandering? Why are you speaking evil of someone? That's what the devil does. And we are not of the devil. We are followers of Jesus. So therefore, our words must reflect Jesus. Okay, Allie, is Lucifer still the devil's name, or did that get taken away when he rebelled against God? Lucifer is also not a name. The word Lucifer is not it's a Latin word which means shining one. So in Isaiah 14, I think it is, the Hebrew word means shining one, okay, or bright and glorious one, okay, which is a way to describe spiritual beings. So the King James translation and New King James uses Lucifer. But Lucifer just means shining one. Like, that's why we talk about luminescence, or when something illumines, it lights up. There's light to it. So Lucifer means shining one, okay? Because the Hebrew just means someone that shines, okay? Angelic beings. How are angelic and how are spiritual beings described in the Bible? There's a bright light, okay? So that's that. So then, does he have a name or not? Nope, which is interesting. And I think the reason for that, and I would love to have more conversation on spiritual beings, but it is interesting that the commander of spiritual evil he's never dignified enough to get a name. The way the Bible presents this being, the Satan, the devil, uh, he's so evil and so bad that he doesn't even deserve a name, which is a fascinating theology and understanding of evil. That evil is evil, and sin and wrong is never dignified. It's not worthy enough to receive a name, just titles. So we can have more conversation on that if you want at some other time. I'd love to talk about that over many cups of coffee. But when we slander with our words, we're using words like the devil. Okay? Okay. That's a copy and there. Okay, what did it look like in our lives? Okay, everybody good so far? Any quick questions on sins of the tongue, why they're sinful? Otherwise, let's actually get into some of these specific sins of the tongue. Anything? Okay, so what do they look like? Let's actually dive into some specific ones of these. Let's start first with gossip. Gossip. Okay, Proverbs 17:9 is helpful here. Whoever covers an offense seeks love, but he who repeats a matter shares information, gossips, separates close friends. So that's gossip. Gossip is spreading hurtful information about someone, even if it's true. That doesn't change it. And I know gossip is something that a lot of us struggle with, and it's a big one. Either all of us have either seen gossip in friend groups, we've gossiped about someone, or we've received someone gossiping about us. So we're all very familiar with gossip and how incredibly evil it is, and how much harm it can do. And this is a good example of Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupt, moldy, rotten speech come out of your mouth. And when we spread information about someone, whether true or false, we're gossiping, and it's moldy, rotten, putrid, destroying, destructive, evil speech. And yet we are so quick in the hallway to spread something. We quickly text it to people. We quickly snap it to people. In the locker room, we talk about this girl. We talk about that girl. We talk about this guy. We talk about that guy. On the bus rides, wherever that may be, we talk about each other. Okay, spreading information about another person that is hurtful is gossip. And God hates it. And gossip is, and I put this first because I think this is one that we struggle with, and we approve of, and we participate in way too quickly. And and we like gossip because it makes us feel powerful. Because when you spread information, when you have a secret or you have a tidbit of information, it makes you feel powerful, because secrets and information oftentimes equals power. You have information, so you then feel the power. And so we are so quick to gossip because we like the feeling of having power over people. When I have information about someone, I then can control who I tell it to. I can manipulate them to, well, I'll tell you if you, or I want you to like me, so I'll tell you, or we have the power to ruin that person's reputation or to hurt someone that we don't like. We're annoyed at them, and we feel that power, and we like it. But it's wrong. And so here in Proverbs 17:9, Proverbs is clear. When you hear information about someone, you have two options. You either cover it so it stops and it's done, or you repeat it. You gossip about it. And so, think back through, guys. What is the locker room like? What are your texting habits like? What are your Snapchatting habits like? What are conversations on the bus like? Does a piece of information, this person said this, and you'll never guess what that person did, and I saw this person, Or is it covering? Or does it get repeated and repeated and repeated? Okay, gossip is a team sport. Gossip is a team sport. We come together and we share, then we repeat, and we keep on sharing it. Okay, Allie, yeah, because when you don't know stuff other people know, it makes you feel like you're not as popular as them because nobody told you. Yep, Allie, and that's exactly it. And so if we're on the other side of everybody knows something and I don't know it, I feel left out. And so, okay, tell me the gossip because I want to feel in. So now we're being prideful, we're being selfish, and we're not loving the other person. Sins of the tongue, you are sharing content or information that is hurtful to another person. So guys, gossip has to stop. This isn't something that we can continue to let go and be happening in our youth group. It ruins people. It's sin. And so there's 11 questions from a mentor of mine that he posted that I think are really helpful. So here are 11 questions on gossiping. So I would suggest getting ready to take a picture of this or screenshotting it, or if you want these, text me and I'll give them to you. These are really good. Here we go. 11 questions on gossiping. 1. I wonder what percentage of my words each day either function as gossip or flow from a gossip's heart. So thinking through, man, how much of my day is spent gossiping? And really asking ourselves that. How much conversation, you're texting. What do you text about? What do you snap about? Is it gossip? What percentage do you think your daily conversations are gossip? What percentage? 2, what if I valued others' reputations more than my own? Could you imagine what that would do to a local church if everybody valued others' reputations more than our own? 3, what if I silently asked for a pure heart before speaking negatively about someone? And examining our heart. God, examine my heart right now. Give me a pure heart that won't speak corrupt, moldy words. 4, how much would I edit my words if I determined only to communicate facts about people and to avoid speculation, assumption, and motive judging? How much would I edit my words if I determined only to communicate facts about people and to avoid speculation, assumption, and motive judging? That would eliminate many of the words that we say about people. What would happen if I called for a timeout each time a conversation veered towards unproven speculation or unnecessary negativity about someone? Could you imagine that? You're in the bus, driving wherever you're going, and the conversation begins to veer into gossip, and you just stand up and call for a timeout. Could you imagine what would happen if more of us called for a timeout every time there was gossip? Question 6. How awkward do my conversations become if I determine not to hear gossip and slander? How might I speak about others if I were present with a book containing every negative word that has been spoken about me in the past year? How might I speak about others if I were given a book containing every negative word that has been spoken about me in the past year? Could you imagine that? Standing there holding a book with every negative word that somebody said about you. Would that change the way that you talk about others? Of thinking, well, it's just like, it's just me saying something, which then gets multiplied and multiplied, and now you have a bunch of people saying negative and gossipy things about others. 8, how might I change my speech if I were to see an artistic rendering of the damage my words have done over the years? Could you imagine if God allowed us to see the damage that our words do to people? The emotional damage, the relational damage, the effects that it might take physically on someone. Could you imagine if you could actually see the damage that our words do? A few more. What percentage of church splits have been influenced by gossip and slander? Or friendship splits? What if I objected as passionately and immediately to the slander of others as I do to others' slander of me? What a powerful question. When we hear somebody talk bad about us, our first reaction is to deal with it and to take care of it. And yet, when somebody else is being slandered or gossiped about, we don't feel the need to object to that. What if I only spoke of others as I would like them to speak of me? Guys, these 11 questions, these would transform supernaturally and miraculously through the power of Jesus the way that we talk to one another and the way that we talk about one another. So I know we took a little bit more time on this, but I really wanted to emphasize this because I think it's so easy for all of us to just slip right into gossip. It's an easy, slippery slope, and it's easy to jump into them. Okay, if you want these questions, let me know and I'll send them to you. Okay, let's keep on moving. Okay, next we have slander. We already looked at this, but slander is to speak evil of. Here's Titus 3. Remind them to be submissive to, this is Christians, remind Christians to be submissive to rulers and authorities, to be obedient, to be ready for every good work, to speak evil of no one, to slander no one, to avoid quarreling, to be gentle, to show perfect courtesy toward all people. Okay, super clear. Don't speak evil of someone. There's no ways around that. We cannot get to the end of our day and say, hey, someone asks, how was school today? Oh, man, let me tell you what this person did. And we're speaking evil of them. We're speaking negatively of them. And we can't do it, well, I'm not going to say any names, but this person did this and that. And we're slandering someone in our minds and with our words. It doesn't matter if the person doesn't know who we're talking about. Speaking evil of someone is slander. It's sin. We can also put it this way. Slander is name vandalism. You're vandalizing someone's name. And slander is often going to be exaggerated or not true. So you're just taking spray paint and you're graffitiing and vandalizing a person. That's not okay. That is sinful. So guys, we cannot text and snap and talk in the locker room or in the hallway or on the bus or with our friends or with anybody and vandalize someone's name. That's sin. And we have to own up to that and call it sin and turn away from it. That's slander. Okay, next, lying. Okay, just straight up lying, being deceitful, bearing false witness, being deceptive, manipulating, exaggerating something, trying to protect our image, and so we bend the story. Okay, lying, bearing false witness. It's creating an alternate reality. We're trying to bend what is true for our own purposes, to protect us or whatever. When we speak words that don't match up with reality, we're lying. And lying, God hates lying lips. He hates people that don't speak the truth. God hates it. God hates it. Okay, next. This is a common one. Oftentimes we say something really hurtful, and then we respond with, oh, I'm kidding. Okay, look what Proverbs says. Proverbs 26:18-19. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, oh, I'm only joking. That's an incredible proverb. Because how many times do we lie to someone, or we deceive someone, or we manipulate someone, or we just say something that's hurtful, and then when we realize, oh, I got caught, we just say, oh, I'm just kidding. When we know that we're not. We meant what we said, we meant what we did, but because we got caught, we're going to say, oh, well, I was only kidding, as if somehow saying, I'm only kidding, doesn't automatically takes away the words that we said. It doesn't. So we cannot think that just because we can say something mean to someone and then quickly try to veil it of saying, well, I was just kidding. No, our heart was angry. We didn't like someone. We wanted to hurt someone. We said hurtful words. We did something sinful towards them, and then we can't throw, I'm kidding. I was just joking at the end of it. God tells us, no, you are worse than somebody who throws death. I mean, think of throwing death. That's terrible. And yet God says, when you try to deceive someone with, oh, I'm just joking, you're like somebody that throws death. That's incredible. Okay, next. What else do they look like? Profanity, swearing, cussing, whatever you want to call it. And I know this one is one that we kind of hide, we manipulate, we kind of think it's cool to do. And again, and this falls under a big respectable sin, that when we use words that are swear words, cuss words, whatever you want to call them, inappropriate, they're words that destroy, and and the content of them is destructive and is inappropriate. Okay, so there's kind of two dimensions to this that I want to emphasize. So some profanity, swearing, whatever, is going to fall under belittling serious things. So we make little of, we make light of, we make them pathetic. So certain words, whether saying God or Jesus or whatever, so saying those like God's name, Jesus' name, or even serious things like hell or damnation or whatever it may be, those are serious, serious things. So we cannot use God's name or the name of Jesus as just a flippant thing to throw out there. If we really believe that God is a majestic and amazing being, then when we use his name flippantly, we're belittling his name. Same with Jesus. If we really believe that the name of Jesus is the only hope of salvation, then how can we use Jesus' name in a way that's lame and pathetic and belittling? Or we use hell. If we really believe that I and every human being deserves eternal punishment in hell for my sin, then to just throw the word hell out there flippantly is mocking God's justice and is making light of sin. Or something like damnation, and using that word. If I really believe that sinners deserve to be damned to hell for their sin, and that God takes that seriously, then why would I use a word that describes what God will do to a soul forever and use that as a flippant, profane, cuss word, swear word? Do we really believe that God is going to damn sinners like you and me, and that's what we deserve? Do we really believe that I deserve God's eternal damnation in hell for my sin? Do we really believe that? And if we do, and then proclaim that Jesus is the only hope and the only way to be saved, then we're not going to be able to say words like those flippantly. They don't line up. Okay, also, other words are just inappropriate or obscene. Okay, Ephesians 5. Let there be no filthiness or foolish talk or crude joking, which are out of place, but instead let there be thanksgiving. Most swear words fall under the category of they're inappropriate, they're obscene, they're wrong, they're foolish, they're filthy, they're crude, they're out of place. And most of these fall in there. And Paul is clear, we cannot, as followers of Jesus, use words that are out of place, that are corrupt, that are filthy, that are obscene, that are inappropriate. Or 1 Corinthians 13:5. Love is not rude. Love does not speak in a way that is not helpful and beneficial and graceful. So guys, straight up, when we use swear words, when we swear, we cuss, whatever you want to call it, we're being unloving because we're using words that our culture acknowledges are wrong and inappropriate, and we're using them inappropriately. We're using them, we're being unloving with them. We're being rude, we're being filthy, crude, the list goes on. Okay, this is how the Bible addresses these things. Okay, sins of the tongue also have ridicule. Proverbs 15:4. A gentle tongue is a tree of life. Okay, so ridicule is just mocking people. It's speaking down on them. It's making fun of them. It's belittling somebody. So then we ask ourselves, how do you speak about other people? So upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, how do you talk about the junior hires or the freshmen and sophomore? Do you talk down about them or talk about how dumb and stupid and lame they are? Junior hires or lower classmen, do you talk about the upperclassmen, those that are older, because they're lame and dumb and stupid and weird? Okay, any words that we use that just mock people or make fun of them or belittle them or humiliate them is ridicule. And it's sin because the content of our words destroys someone. It doesn't build them up, it destroys them. So we got to ask, guys, how do we talk about other people? If you're athletic, how do you talk about the people that aren't athletic? Do you mock them and make fun of them because they're not as athletic as you? Do you ridicule and mock and make fun of those that aren't as smart as you? Or do you mock and ridicule and humiliate those that aren't as popular as you? Okay, when we ridicule, when we mock and humiliate people with our words, we're using our tongue in a sinful way. And Tyler, you asked about sarcasm. Now, sarcasm in and of itself isn't sinful, but often we use sarcasm in a sinful way. Sarcasm can be sinful. If you make a sarcastic comment about someone with the goal that you will humiliate them or mock them or make fun of them in a wrong way, then that sarcasm is wrong. So we have to ask ourselves, well, why am I saying this sarcastic thing? And if it's if it's for the goal of ridiculing or mocking and putting them down, then it's wrong. Okay, and last one, approving the words of others. So maybe we say, well, I don't gossip or swear or slander people or ridicule people, but we can approve of the people that do. Here's what Paul says in Romans, the last part of it. So they are gossips, they slander, they're haters of God, they're haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, they're disobedient to parents, they're foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Though they know God's righteous decree that those who practice such things, gossip, slander, deserve to die, they not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them. Okay, so guys, you may say, well, I don't say evil things about people. I don't swear. I don't do this. But do we approve of those that do? Do we go along with those that do? Or do we laugh at it? Do we chuckle with it because we still want to be cool? Okay, guys, we can't use our tongue to speak evil and to sin, and we also can't give approval to those that do. We need to either stand up against it or leave. So we cannot give approval to it. Okay, Allie, can calling someone's errors out in front of others fall into ridiculing them? Most often it will be, Allie, and so I'll address this in this section of how to kill it. So, but that's a good question, Allie, of how do we go about that? And we'll talk about this in one of these points, but that's a really good question. Okay, all right, any quick questions then on what does it look like in our life before we get into how to kill them? Okay. As always, confess and repent. We always start here. We won't overcome our sin until we own up to our sin. No more excuses. No more justification. No more just sloughing it off as not a big deal. When I gossip, when I slander, when I swear, when I mock and ridicule, when I say those things, I am sinning. And it's wrong, and I confess it. God, forgive me, and I'm turning away from it every single time. Now also, guys, with sins of our tongue, they're naturally targeted at people. So therefore, when you gossip or slander or mock and ridicule someone, when you use your tongue to speak content or tone that destroys, you have to go to the person and ask for their forgiveness. You have to go to that person and deal with it and make it right. We have to. Next, we always remember the gospel. Always, always. We remember that we're freed from sin in ourselves. When we feel that temptation to gossip or to slander or to mock people or humiliate them, when we feel that temptation, we remember that I don't have to give in to this. Sin brings death and destruction, and because of the gospel, I can choose to follow Jesus in this situation. And also, we remember that Jesus' blood brings cleansing and healing. The destruction and rottenness that our words can cause, we remember that Jesus' blood brings healing, and we find hope in that. Okay? Pray specifically against your sin. Pray specifically against your sin. Here's how the psalmist prays. Set a guard, O Yahweh, over my mouth. Keep watch over the door of my lips. What a great prayer. Set a guard over my mouth. Watch the door of my lips. Like, that's just a door. You're watching who's going in, who's coming out. God, will you watch what comes out of my mouth? So, guys, if for you, for some of us, if you say, you know what, like, wow, gossip is really where I struggle, then pray that God would help you to kill gossip. If slander and speaking evil of people is where you struggle, then pray that God will help you kill slander. If using inappropriate and swear words and just inappropriate, rude words is where you struggle, pray that God will help you to kill those words. Pray specifically for the sin of your tongue. Okay, next. If you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. Nope, wrong. It's not what Paul says. If you can't say something nice, say thanks. Here's Paul. Let there be no filthiness, nor foolish talk, nor crude joking, which are out of place, but instead let there be thanksgiving. So Paul doesn't, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Okay, I mean, that's not bad, but it's not biblical. The Bible says when you're tempted to gossip about someone and spread hurtful information, you flip it and you say, you know what? I'm so thankful that this person is, man, I'm just so thankful that God brought them to our youth group. I'm really thankful for that. And so rather than, you're not, the point is to not just put duct tape over our lips and just say, all right, I'm just gonna duct tape my lips and never speak for the rest of my life. No, we use our tongue to build up, to speak good, edifying words. So replace it with thanksgiving. When we're about to speak evil of someone, we give thanks for them. So replace sins of the tongue with thanksgiving. So don't just be like, okay, I'm just not going to say anything. We actually have to put something in its place. Say thanks. But instead, let there be thanksgiving. Okay? Remember, our words reflect our hearts. Okay, even going back to like the thanks, like instead say thanks. Like, I mean, just imagine like when you're just so frustrated and you're ready to just like unleash inappropriate swear words and bad words. Could you imagine you're just like really frustrated and all of a sudden you just start giving thanks? You're just, you're just really bad. Like, oh man, you're like, don't swear. I'm so thankful for food and I'm so thankful for ice cream. You just start saying thanks when you're super frustrated. But that's Paul. We start giving thanks in that. I had to suss that out some more because it was in my brain. Okay, next. Remember, our words reflect our hearts. So realize that when you gossip, when you and I gossip, it's not just, here's Jesus, okay? You brood of vipers, how can you speak good things when you are evil? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. We know this verse really well. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The point of this is to say, when you gossip about someone, it's not just your words. You have to ask, why did I gossip about this person? And we have to examine our hearts. And we think, oh, it's because I selfishly love power. Or we say, oh, I gossip about that person because I have anger against them and I'm bitter against them. Okay, so don't just stop at your words. Examine your heart. Why did I say those things? And Jesus says it's because of something in your heart. It's something in your heart. Okay? Next. Remember, we will give an account for every word we say. Here's Jesus again. I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give an account for every careless word they speak. Every gossip, every slander, every swear word, every inappropriate word, every crude word, every rotten word, every corrupt word, every mocking word, you and I will stand before God and we'll have to explain and give an account for those words. How would that change the words that we use if we realize I'm going to have to explain to God why I chose to say this? We will give an account for every word. We have to remember that. Okay, next. And Allie, this deals with your question. Ask ourselves, is it true? Is it kind? Is it edifying? Is it needful? Okay, so is it true? Is what I'm going to say really what's true? Or do I not know the full story? Or am I trying to deceive someone or manipulate someone or trying to protect myself by not telling what is actually true? Or if we're going to gossip about someone and saying, well, you know what, like this isn't true, so therefore I shouldn't be saying anything. Or that will prevent us from lying or whatever. Okay, is it kind? So, Allie, when you're saying calling out someone's errors in front of them, 99% of the time is not going to be kind. Just in publicly in front of everybody saying, "Whoa, why did you just did this thing," and you're blaring it. What you're doing then is you're doing more harm than you are good. So, Allie, then it seems that most of the time the better thing to do is privately, one-on-one, say, hey, you know what? Like, I saw this thing. Like, just want to, I love you, and I want you to be aware of this, and just want to let you know, like, I see this in your life, and I want to grow through this with you, because publicly talking about someone's faults will almost never do any good. Because again, we want to love and protect people as much as we can. So publicly blaring their faults in front of people is not going to do the most help. Rather, we take them aside and one-on-one say, hey, you know what? Like, I see this thing, and so we're trying to be as helpful and kind as possible. Okay, is it edifying? Is what I'm going to say really going to build up, or is it just going to tear down? And then, is it needful? Do I have to say this? And most of the things that we say aren't necessary. So even, Allie, with your question of, if you see a fault in someone, you say, you know what? Should somebody say something? Yes, but do I need to? Probably not. Maybe that's going to be, maybe someone else is better for that. Maybe that a closer friend or a pastor or a parent or someone else needs to say that. So we don't have to feel like, oh, I'm just going to like put my evil eyes on and I'm going to try to find people's evil and tell them all about it because I want to tell them what's true and I love them. No, often you and I don't need to confront people on every little sin. Okay, but sometimes we might. So asking ourselves before we say something. Okay, and then our final thing. Imagine, guys, what a local church would be like if you knew that when you showed up to church, you were going to hear words that built you up from every single person you talked to. Like, just imagine that. And so often, yet, we give in to sins of the tongue. We slander, we gossip, we put people down, we mock them, we ridicule them. But could you imagine if you knew, you're saying, I'm going to church, I'm going to youth group, and I know that every person I talk to is going to speak words that are going to build up and edify. Because so many of our fears and so many of the issues come when we know, oh, I know that I'm going to hear gossip or people are going to gossip and slander me. And those things exist. But man, guys, imagine what our local church, what Bay City or whatever church would look like if we showed up and knew that every person we talk to, we're going to hear words that build up instead of tear down. The content of them and the tone of them is not going to destroy. It's not going to be corrupt. So when it comes to sins of the tongue, as with every other respectable sin, it's not a matter of do I sin with my tongue or do I not? It's how much do I sin with my tongue? And through the gospel, we can grow, we can find victory, and as we continue to strive and become more like Jesus, we can use our tongue to have no corrupt talk, but rather that which is good for edifying. And with that, guys, that is our final respectable sin, the respectable sin of sins of the tongue. So next week, we'll do just a wrap-up and conclusion. I have I have this little chart of all the sins with definitions. So I'll try to print those out. That way you can have them if you want them. And I'll make it a nice, easy-to-read little chart. That way you guys can have them. So next week, we'll have just a conclusion. And then next week, we'll let you know what the plan is for youth group moving into the summertime. And until then, we will see you guys next Wednesday. So I will close in prayer. If there's no other final questions, I don't see any. So I'll close in prayer, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I've loved going through this study with you guys. It's been fun. And next week, we'll share what God has taught us through this study. Father, thank you for tonight. Thank you for time in your word. And God, we realize that all of us, we sin with our tongue so often. God, will you help us in the power of the gospel and the power of Jesus, that we would use our tongue to speak edifying and grace-filled words. God, forgive us for speaking words that are corrupt and speaking with a tone or content that destroys people. God, forgive us. May we own up to that sin and not excuse it or respect it, but kill it. So God, will you make Bay City, make our youth group a place that all of us speak only good and edifying words about one another. God, will you please grow us, we ask, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thanks again, guys. Love you all. Miss you guys. Looking forward to CTG and getting to hang out together. We'll see you then next Wednesday.